was literally going to start off this video with apologizing about my oily hair and making a self-deprecating joke about how uneven my eyeliner looks. But you know what? This is a positive channel and my eyeliner is just having a fraternal twin sister moment. So they are perfect exactly the way they are. Alright, I had to go change my pants, but it's not like you guys can see it anyways, but I'm an oversharer, so I thought I should let you guys know. Many of you guys may know that I inspire my bullet journal themes off with the current thing I am obsessed with. This month, it is anime. Me and my sister are obsessed with this anime called Food Wars, and we literally stay up till 2 a.m. every single weekend watching this anime with a giant bowl of ice cream. It's an anime about these kids who go to this prestigious school and fight with each other in terms of like food battles, and it's super heartwarming and also brutal at the same time, but oh my god, the food illustrations are just so gorgeous. And it's like, how have I never inspired off of an anime show before, right? This month is inspired off of that show and I'm like super excited about it. And like, oh my god, the guys in that show are just they are just so fire. I could just look at them all day. Kayama, Ishiki, Tsukasa. Like, those three are my favorites. Alright, I picked literally a horrible spot to film this because the sun just keeps going that way and then that way, and then it's just messing up with my shot, so I'm just gonna keep it. I am just gonna go ahead and cut this intro right here because I have a problem with making super long intros. No, it is not because I am just alone in my room with no friends and just talking to the camera all by myself. No, that is not why. Okay, bye. Alright guys, so let's get started. So for the lettering of this month, I am kind of switching between different styles, but for the cover page, I wanted to do something similar to a takeout box just to kind of relate with the whole Japanese food illustration theme. And so I used a Tombow Futonosuke and went with something that wasn't like connecting all of the angles of the letters together. So you can see here it looks a little bit more like fast-paced in terms of the style of the lettering. For the calendar, I used a Sakura 01 just so that it looks a little bit more minimal and clean. And now for the fun part, of course, all the doodles, I used a 003 black Sakura Pigma fine liner. I use this very thin tipped fine liner for a lot of the outlining in my doodles, and that is how I get that delicate look. I love using this pen. I mean, it runs out a lot quicker in my opinion, but I don't use it for really anything else, so I don't mind having a bunch of 003 fine liners laying around. I order like a whole pack of them from Amazon, and a lot of this inspiration actually did come from the illustrations from the anime Food Wars. I literally just googled food illustration Food Wars in Google, and I looked for the art that was created for the anime show and basically just inspired off of that. I also inspired off of some Pinterest posts about Japanese food and also just any experience I've had with Japanese food. I've tried to remember it and created that as best as I could. I also didn't want my doodles to look too realistic because I am kind of trying to go for that whimsical, playful type of look. So I focused on making the doodles kind of fit more into the kawaii style of doodling. And for those of you that don't know what kawaii means, it means cute in Japanese. And so in order to do that, I added some cute little faces to the sushi and the rice or the soy bottle, for example, just to kind of fit in with the whole aesthetic of playfulness and small and minimal and cute. A little tip to make your faces look a little bit cuter is to make the circles for the blushes go a little higher up, almost close to the eyes, and then make the smile lined with the blush circles themselves. And then just to try something a little bit more different this month, I decided to go with a lot more color. So I did use more yellows and red tone because I feel like they kind of remind me more of like the Japanese and Asian cultures. So I went with zebra mild liners and Tombow Futonosukes. Everything that I've used is going to be linked below, but essentially I just went with the colors that come with the basic color packs that you can usually find, like the 15 pack for zebra mild liners and for the basic color pack and nude pack for the Tombow Futonosukes. So I know that the cover page has like a lot of excessive doodles on it, and because I made the cover page have so many doodles, I decided to go very minimal with the rest of the theme. I have been noticing that in my most recent bullet journal spreads, I've been kind of deviating from the more minimalist style, and my pages have been looking a lot more decorative. And I will say that it's been taking up a lot of my time, and the whole point of bullet journaling for me was so that my life is a lot more simple and I can be a lot more organized and don't have to stress about my bullet journaling. I think some of us were taught from a really young age that if we are not drawing in a more realistic or hyper-realism style of art, then we are not talented as artists. But also that I want my bullet journal to be something that is filled with intention, right? And so because I want my bullet journal to have more of a minimal aesthetic and I want it to be a more functioning tool for my life, then I have to be more self-aware and conscious of what I'm creating inside of it. And so it is kind of a challenge for me to, you know, take a step back and to actually switch back and forth from wanting to create these excessively detailed spreads rather than going for the more minimal ones that I intentionally wanted to do in the first place. Alright, so now we are moving on to the quote page, and my quote is by my favorite author, Glennon Doyle, and it says, "Being human is not about feeling happy, it's about feeling everything." And I like to personalize everything, even the quotes, so at the bottom right hand corner I wrote in, "Even that hunger, fear, loneliness, anxiety, sadness, and anger." I think it's so important to personalize your bullet journals because, like, hey, that is the whole point of bullet journaling, and also, like, you're just spending so much time in creating these pages and really putting yourself into them, and so it's important to express your feelings and your thoughts and just be where you're at in your bullet journaling style. You know, January was not an easy month for me. I had a lot of feelings come up that I wasn't really acknowledging. I wasn't getting enough sleep. I was overworking myself. I wasn't getting to eat as well as I should have been. So I really just want February to be a month where I just take a step back and, you know, still bullet journal, but not excessively, and really just take care of myself and be in acceptance of exactly where I'm at. I don't think I'm alone in these feelings. I think we're all in this emotional hangover from 2020, and I just think the world isn't going anywhere. We can pause, we can take a breather, and just take care of ourselves. Like, that's literally the most important thing we can do right now. So moving on to the monthly calendar page, I decided to keep it very minimal and made the squares super tiny, 3 by 3. Those are the dimensions because, as you know, I write extremely small. I kept it simple by putting the task list on the left side and the intentions list on the right side, and then I put in the small numerical monthly calendar right above the big monthly calendar. For the lettering of the February header, I decided to go for a more cute, bubbly type of look to fit with the aesthetics of the entire theme, and then I put in some Japanese food illustrations on the left-hand side, and then you will also see me doing it on the right-hand side in a little bit. All of these doodles are in the same 003 Sakura Pigma fine liner, and I outlined all of my borders for the calendars and my task lists in a size 02. I have tried to do a 03 before, but for me, it was a little bit too thick because I do like that minimal thin look. So I tend to go for the thinner liners in most of the borders and doodles that I do. I also decided to put in some affirmations just as a reminder every time I use this page. The left one says, "Remember to take it easy," and the right one says, "You are loved." I also used this very light gray Staedtler fine liner in order to create this grid pattern within the borders of my lists. And I just think that looks so cute. It looks like graph paper kind of enclosed into a little spot on this page. I am obsessed with grid right now, and so I'm kind of just creating it in all of my spreads wherever I get the chance, and I just think it looks super cute. I also just ended up using the same color palette from the cover page and the quote page and highlighted all of the headers and highlighted the numbers and added some cute washies. I'm using these nice floral washies that you've seen me use in all of my page spreads. I kind of just use the same thing in every single bullet journal theme. I just switch up the theme itself. So now we are moving on to the February habit and mood tracker, and you will see here in a little bit that I kind of made it similar to last month's habit and mood tracker. This tracker is actually very similar from the tracker that I was stuck on for all of 2019, where I just kind of tracked each of my habits all the way across the page in one straight horizontal line. I really like this style of tracking because it's simple and functional and really easy to make, honestly. So I just kind of went back to the basics of what I always felt comfortable with and just changed it up a little bit by adding a border around like the tick mark for whenever I actually complete a habit. I also wanted to put in a quote on the left side because it seemed a little bit too bare for my liking, and so the quote is also by Glennon Doyle, and the quote says, "Perhaps imagination is not where we go to escape reality, but where we go to remember it." I think when we think about imagination, right, we're leaning towards this idea of also visualization, and when I think about what is reality, sometimes we just get in our heads, we are overthinking, and we think that is what reality is, right? But when we're imagining our future life where we have all of the things we've ever wanted, all of our desires are fulfilled, and think about it, right? Why can we not have all of these things that we want in our life? Who is stopping us? What is getting in our way? It's usually us that's getting in our own way. And so I really like this quote because I think we tend to think, oh, our imagination is just this fantasy that can never become this reality in our life. But hey, you know what? Maybe our imagination is reality. Maybe we can have everything we wanted in our life, and maybe we are that powerful. Maybe we are that magnificent. So I thought this was a nice quote to kind of ponder in and reflect back on, like, what does this quote mean to you and how does it reflect in your life, especially internally, right? Because of all this turbulence that is going on the outside world, how can I shift the inside of myself to go into this more centered state of mind by looking at the words of other spiritual masters and gurus and learning from them and changing our perspective little by little, slowly at a time, to help us evolve into the people that we want to be. So now we are moving on to the different ways to letter page, and I honestly was thinking about not even creating this page this month because I wanted to take it easy on myself and not put too much effort into my bullet journal. But then I thought, you know what, I'm gonna have fun with it. I don't have to go all out with the doodles and put them all the way across the page this time. So I decided to just put some at the top and some at the bottom, and then I didn't even create as many lettering styles this month. And even within the styles, I tried to keep it very minimal with the curvatures and the lettering technique. You can see it's very minimal except for the last one. The last one is a little bit more fancy, but that's just because I just, I wanted to have fun with it. And so I just, touched it up with a little bit of washi. So now we're moving on to my self-care page. As you guys know, I've been doing at least one self-care page every single month. Okay, so the way I see it is I have two selves. I have the up self and then I have the down self. And usually when I'm in the up self, I don't really remember how I am in the down self. And then when I'm in the down self, I seriously do not know how I am in the up self. Especially when I'm in the down self, I tend to think this phase is going to last forever. I'm not going to get out of it. This is just how I am. There's something wrong with me. And so I thought it would have been really helpful to create a letter from both sides of myself that I can read when I am in the opposite self, if that makes sense. This is basically to act as a reminder that there is absolutely nothing wrong with me. These are just natural emotions that everyone goes through, and I think it's important to normalize both sides of ourselves, right? So I actually didn't fill these out for this video. I will be filling them out later, and I am going to be posting it on my Patreon page first, which more on that later, and then I will be posting it on my Instagram for anyone who is curious to know what I am writing in those pages. So now we are moving on to the first weekly of the month, and I am so excited for you guys to see this weekly because I think it just came out to be super cute. I actually always start my weeklies off with Monday instead of Sunday because I think Sunday is the end of a week and Monday should be the start of a week. Obviously do whatever you want, but this is what feels most comfortable for me. I went ahead and made the Numerical monthly calendar in my gray Staedtler fine liner, and I did the same bubbly letters for the February header that I used used in the habit and mood tracker. I actually made this page like super minimal. If you go back to some of my older spreads when I first started bullet journaling, this page kind of reminds me of that, where like I don't really have that many doodles. And you can see that this page kind of does reflect some of those earlier pages of mine because I just added some doodles, like very minimal doodles right underneath the February header. So I decided against putting a quote on this page because I wanted to just get these pages done and I wanted to get this video done. So I just kind of went with whatever I felt most comfortable with. You know, I didn't want to push myself, so I just added some color to spice things up. And then, oh my gosh, okay, this is my favorite part of this weekly. So basically inspiring off of that grid pattern that I've been using in a lot of my earlier spreads, I decided to make this pattern based off of lined paper. So I am using the number 942 in the Tombow dual brush pen for the horizontal lines, and then I'm using a green Staedtler fine liners for the left hand side vertical lines, and then I added some washies, and then I put a cute little word "moi" on the left side. And here's the final flip through of my February bullet journal setup. I am so happy that I went back to a more minimal look for this month just because of how overwhelmed I've been feeling. I am so grateful to be having a tool like bullet journaling in my life where I get to choose and decide what I want my journal to look like based on my needs and my lifestyle on a monthly basis. It is an empowering choice to make, so I encourage everyone to take advantage of that choice we have and really cater our bullet journals to our needs. And a big lesson I also learned was to be in acceptance of where I am at and have that reflect in my bullet journal, because I do not need to overwork myself. I do not need to create the same pages I've been creating because everyone is expecting those kinds of pages. No, I can create exactly what I want to create. That is how I'm going to feel more comfortable. So I'll see you guys in the outro. And you have made it to the outro. Good job. Congratulations. And before you leave, I have a quick announcement. I have officially launched my Patreon page. It is something that I am super excited about. I have been meaning to do this for a while. This Patreon is for anyone who is looking to go a little bit deeper into spirituality, mental health, bullet journaling, personal development. We are going to be reading one book a month that is more related to spirituality and personal development. In February, we are starting A Return to Love by Marianne Williamson. It is a book that I am absolutely obsessed with, and I haven't read it in a while, so I thought this would be a perfect book to start 2021 off with, even though we are 1 month late, but you know what? It is what it is. And also, if you're not really into the book club thing and you don't really read, I have so many other things on there for bullet journal enthusiasts and stationery enthusiasts. Every single tier has different benefits. It ranges from getting stickers in the mail to practicing lettering sheets or a high-res phone wallpaper that relates to the current theme of the month in terms of bullet journaling. We also have a Discord chat available for the people who are interested in the book club, but also for bullet journaling and just daily self-reflections. We do gratitude lists there, and we just talk about our life and we complain and we find solutions. This is just for anyone who is like wanting to be a part of a tight-knit community where we get to know each other and just get to dive a little bit more deeper into our personal lives. So whoever pledges for Patreon will be the first to see any of my bullet journal spreads. Like, for example, you know, this video was a little bit late this month and I apologize for that because I know it's frustrating, right? So anyone who is pledging on Patreon, they're gonna have a chance to see all of my spreads way before anyone on Instagram gets to see them. I just thought I would throw that in there just for anyone who is interested. You don't have to join. I still appreciate all of your guys' support. I am just so grateful that I am getting to be a part of this community that is filled with love and joy and kindness. I hope you guys got some ideas for your bullet journal. I really encourage you guys to find your style slowly. You don't have to do it right away, a little bit at a time. Maybe change the lettering up a little bit, change up the colors, change up the style of the borders, make it your own. I really encourage finding your individuality through your bullet journal. I hope you guys had a fun time in this video. I love you guys so much, and I hope you have a beautiful day today.